Testing, jokes. I think it works, somewhat. Good morning, YouTube family. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm gonna do the joke thing. I'm gonna tell jokes. I'm gonna be right on into it. Did you ever wonder what not Napoleon. Excuse me. Abraham Lincoln once said? He said a lot of things, but we'll just go right into it. He also said, he said, I may walk slow, but I never walk back. And I was like, oh, geez, wow. Is that the reason you weren't fast enough to turn around when in the back of the head? Woo! Yeah, I don't know how else to tell it to you, Mr. Lincoln. But, you were moving at the snail pace. You were literally going slower than the opposite of sound, or the opposite of light. That's how slow you were going, at a crawling snail pace. And I don't know how else to break it to you, Mr. Lincoln, but if you snooze, you lose, alright? You gotta be quick like a spy. You gotta be president, but you also gotta be like, you had one job. I mean, you did your one job great. How you freed the slaves. You're an honorable man. You are. But you just weren't fast enough to turn around. Come on. That's it. Whoop. But, I feel like I can call you Abe, right? I can call you Abe. I feel like we're on that level at this point now. And if you were here with me right now, I'd say, ready? Ready? Here we go. High five. Oh, too slow, Joe. Gotcha. Well, technically they already got you, but. Yeah, anyway, and, I had a nice conversation with my roommate. I asked him, I was like, hey, could you bring me some clothes? It'd be great if you could bring me some clothes. And, he's yeah, that's fine, that's no problem. I said, okay, just a couple of pants, a couple of sweaters, and yeah, it's just a little bit cold, but that's all I need. And, oh, can you please bring me a sports bra? And he goes, what's that? And I was like, it's a bra. And he's like, for your chest? And I was like, yeah. No, yeah, that's where my tits are, yes. Yes. I love him to death. Don't get me wrong here. I love him to death. But who was the last time you saw your lady or your girlfriend or your wife put sports bras on her ankles? Or around her arms? Or, shit, around her neck? What? Like, are we making up new places on the woman's body where we can put bras? I want to know if that's the case. But this man was so far deluded and without reference to female anatomy and female lifestyle that he assumed that I would put a sports bra around my gonads. I want to know. I love it. I love it when men are like so helpless. In the case where it comes to women's lifestyle, like it's a personal favorite, ladies out there for me, right? Like we listen and right, like the times when you know what I'm talking about. I had an ex-boyfriend like years ago, and I asked him, could you get me eye makeup remover? And it blew his mind that like this was like a thing that existed, and he said that he went to the store and then he came back and then he came home empty-handed, and I was like, what's up, babe? Like a boyfriend from years ago. And he's like, I couldn't find it. I spent literally 15-20 minutes in those girl aisles, and I was too emasculated to even ask anyone else for help, so I just left and came back home to you and said, can we do this together, or I'm so sorry, babe, I could not find the eye. It was like, it's the really specific, the good kind, I think Neutrogena in a blue bottle, and that's the one I always use. And he just came back home and was like, I need your help. And I was like, yeah, you do. It's okay, babe. How's that feel? How's that reversal feel? Woo! Feeling pretty damn good, if you ask me. I was like, yeah, you need my help, little mommy. Yeah, I can take you to the store, no problem. I can take you to that aisle. I can show you exactly what I use. And just men. I love men to death, honestly. And if you ever think about just another brain topic here, that another line of thought I have going on in my mind. Do you ever think about how much of an achievement it truly is, to clog the toilet? Clogging the toilet. Yeah, because if you think about it, taking a number 2 is absolutely vital. You need it to happen, and you feel good after it happens. And so you need, well, you don't need to, but I beg of you that you start to see yourself as a champion. It's an underrated achievement to take a number 2. And if you're going to take out loaves, get some books in the bathroom, right? You got to have some reading material. For those that are a little faint of heart, get some incense in there. Really pep yourself up, okay? And know that the more toilet paper you use, the more of a boss you are. And definitely clog that motherfucker. Unless, definitely go for it, because it's not the same achievement. If you realize excretion is number 1 priority as soon as you wake up, think about it, right? So just do this for me today. When you take that number 2, give yourself a good old pat in the back and say, I have achieved great things inside my own home. Before even leaving your own home, you've excreted what you don't need. And you've put on the armor of God and saying, I am successful. It's productive. You gotta know that you're doing it for the right, when was the last time you took a shit and you felt amazing afterwards? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there, baby dolls. You gotta stay in that line of vision and be so just pumped for yourself that is what you do. Is you take number 2s and then you pat yourself on the back. People, listen, you think that this doesn't matter, you think that this is trivial? It does matter. It does matter. It is absolutely vital. You gotta have intent. You gotta catch it right before it comes on. You gotta be fast and agile with your number 2s. It takes faith. It takes faith to know that you're going to have a number 2 and to have an amazing one at that. It takes faith. Next time you take a dump, you just take massive loads out. I want you to say this for me and do this. Kimosabe always wins. Kimosabe always wins. And clog that motherfucker. If you're getting through your days without a number 2, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you're out here living your life and you're not hitting that number 2 system and excreting everything that you've brought in, hit the road. Hit the road. I don't want to see another lick of your kind. You yellow belly lizard coward, hit the road. You can't even drop a number 2 in my household. You can't even hit the road, Jack. And then a recent activity I did was asking, I was in a group, and the group teacher asked everybody to please write, so we just had Valentine's Day, right? And that was fun. And what we did was, well, I don't know what you guys did. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves very much. But for me, I wrote a love letter to myself on Valentine's Day. And but before I did that, I said, this activity kind of makes me want to kill myself. And there's a little bit more to it than that. But, it's Valentine's Day, and I wasn't exactly having, I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be, and and I feel like my love life is whoa, interesting, and what's going on, that type of thing, blang blang. But then I was just this activity kind of makes me want to kill myself. But then I wrote myself a little love letter, and I drew myself a picture. That's where I was more at, and I drew myself a picture. And it was a picture of a rhinoceros dragon, a hybrid, and then me riding the rhinoceros dragon with a robe and staff, and I was this all-powerful mythical character on top of a rhinoceros dragon. So I called it a rhino drag, or a drag rhinoceros. And it was good. It was great. But at the end of class, I said, oh, by the way, sorry for saying I feel like killing myself. And she goes, oh, no, I figured you were just being provocative. And I was like, oh, no, I just thought, I don't know if I was being provocative or something. I felt like I was being myself. But If there's one thing in this life I've learned, it's like to always be yourself and or to never be yourself. I can't figure out which one it is though, but the more I get kicked out, the more I'm like, I'm just gonna be myself. And oh yeah, and then I was staying with a roommate, and the homeboy came over, and he said, like, he's like the housekeeper, and he came over, and he said, like, here's like a little bit of like a bag, you know, and then here's another bag, and like, because I had my twin bed on one side of the room, and she had her twin bed on her side of the room, and he came in and he put a fresh garbage bag on hers, on my side, no, on her side, because she, and for the sake of this joke, she is black, and he came in and gave, and he's black too, and I'm just white. Yeah, I'm just white. I'm just white. And he came in and he like switched out the trash bags. He switched out my trash bag, and then she mentioned, she's like, how come she gets a trash bag and I don't get a trash bag? And I stood up on my bed as best I could, and I said, yeah, plessy v. Ferguson, separate but equal. And it was just like so random. It was so out of pocket. It was so cold, icy response that I was even afraid to put it into my comedy set. But I did. I put it in my comedy set, and I stood up to the inequality that was within the room at that time, and nobody laughed, and nobody thought it was funny. She was sitting on her bed, and she's like, can I get a trash bag if she gets a trash bag at the end of her bed on my bed? So I have one, and then she didn't have one. But then there's another trash bag. Everybody gets trash bags. You get a trash bag, I get a trash bag, she gets a trash bag. Plessy v. Ferguson, separate but equal, is exactly what I said, and nobody laughed. It was amazing. Thank you so much, New York. My name is Kimberly Poncé.